Who the called Drew McIntyre? The other week on Monday Night Raw, Drew McIntyre talked about when he went over to Scotland after his Hell in the Cell match with CM Punk, how there was only one person that called in to check on him. Now, Drew McIntyre was dealing with a very tough situation as he was coming back after recovering from a horrific Hell in a Cell match with CM Punk. He just had a loved one pass away, and he realized that WWE locker room isn't really family. And he has mentioned this on Busted Open. He has mentioned this on television. There was one person that checked in on him, but he still has yet to say who that one person is. So I think it's time to theorize, who is that one person and what will it mean going forward? Hey, I have a list of people that I think it could be, so let's begin with a more obvious one. One of the ones that could be is straight up Sheamus. Sheamus is a real life friend of Drew McIntyre, and they have been tag team partners. It would make the most sense in real life for Sheamus to check in on Drew. This could lead to a WrestleMania match, as Drew McIntyre could end up winning the Intercontinental Championship and giving Sheamus one last shot at the title because he made that phone call. Or it could be Seth Rollins. Now, we have seen Drew McIntyre over the last couple weeks try to get Seth Rollins onto his side. Seth Rollins and him see a lot of the things very similarly. They see the hypocrisy with CM Punk. They see the hypocrisy with Roman Reigns. And that's why Drew McIntyre sees that Seth Rollins is a lot like him. And maybe he wants to bring Seth in because he knows that Seth is an actual friend. Seth actually checked in on him. I think that while Seth and Drew may have a rivalry, they also may have a mutual respect for each other. And Seth Rollins still said the jury was out on Drew McIntyre. He didn't say that he hated Drew McIntyre. He didn't say that he was done with Drew McIntyre. And Seth Rollins isn't exactly a guy that's afraid of saying what he believes. While the likes of Jey Uso and Sami Zayn said that they would never team up with Roman Reigns, a couple weeks later, they're teaming up with Roman Reigns. Seth Rollins said that he was not going to team up with Roman and stood on business. He didn't do it. That is somebody that Drew McIntyre would respect. And I think going forward, we could see a Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre tag team that could completely change 2025. Those guys could change the entire tag team landscape. And speaking of somebody that feels vindicated and is currently crashing out, it could be Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens is a guy that hates CM Punk. Kevin Owens is a guy that seemingly is logical, that seemingly cares about the rest of the roster. He just doesn't like Cody Rhodes and feels backstabbed by the likes of Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton, but he isn't this bad guy to the rest of the locker room. Outside of maybe making fun of Michael Cole, but yeah, everyone likes to make fun of Michael Cole. In a very similar vein as Seth Rollins, we could see KO and Drew McIntyre team up, especially if Drew McIntyre makes that transfer over to SmackDown. Or, better yet, we could see Drew McIntyre, Kevin Owens, and Seth Rollins all team up to become this big three to take down Sami Zayn and the Usos. Then we have some other possibilities, and one of those being CM Punk. CM Punk is an interesting possibility because Drew McIntyre did say that the real villains here are Roman Reigns and CM Punk, but Drew's mindset isn't going after Punk anymore. Drew even said that he at least respected that Punk was taking a bargaining chip to team up with Roman Reigns. He wants to go after Roman and everyone in the original bloodline, but he has no desire to go after Punk anymore. Could that be because he now has somewhat of a mutual respect for CM Punk? Because despite everything that they've been through, CM Punk still made the call to check in on him? I think when you've been through a war like that, it would not be the craziest thing to have CM Punk as the guy that checked in on him. One that could be out of left field, but still could be a possibility, is not a professional wrestler anymore. It's a commentator. It's Wade Barrett. We know that Wade Barrett and Drew McIntyre are friends in real life, and we know that Wade Barrett has said if he ever has one last match, he would want it to be with Drew McIntyre. We also seen the New Day tease a Wade Barrett return, as they said that him and Big E are the same because they don't have the balls to lace up the boots again. That could lead to a Drew McIntyre and Wade Barrett tag team match against the New Day, or we could see Drew McIntyre versus Wade Barrett as Drew gives Wade that final match at WrestleMania because he made the call and he wants to do what's right for his best friend. And last but certainly not least, the one that is probably the most popular on the internet right now and maybe the most intriguing one. Drew McIntyre got a call from The Rock. Now, why would The Rock call Drew McIntyre? Well, simply because The Rock is in tune to what's happening in WWE at the moment. The Rock saw that Drew McIntyre still has a hatred for the people that screwed him over, one being Roman Reigns. And The Rock saw that Solo Sikoa just couldn't beat Roman Reigns. So he needed to make a call to get some assistance to have somebody beat Roman, have somebody beat the OG bloodline. Wouldn't it make sense why Drew McIntyre lost that match at Clash of the Castle back in 2022 and now is going after all of the OG bloodline? What exactly is the motivation for doing that right now? Could it be because The Rock is telling him to? And Drew would be inclined to do so as, one, he gets retribution over every single one of those members that screwed him, including Solo Sikoa himself, but also that is aligning him and The Rock, the only person that would actually call him. He realizes that there's no family anymore, so he might as well do the bidding of the guy that has the most power in WWE so he can guarantee himself safety throughout 2025, probably a title shot, probably being world champion, maybe a 30 spot in the Royal Rumble. You think CM Punk got a favor from Paul Heyman? Drew McIntyre may have gotten some serious favors from The Rock if he takes out all of the OG bloodline. Drew McIntyre also weirdly didn't go after Solo. He said that eventually his time will come and that they will sort out the issues that they have. But at first, he wants Solo to take out Roman. He knows that Solo's not going to be able to take out Roman. Solo hasn't been able to do it all year. But Solo can soften up Roman Reigns for Drew McIntyre, as then Drew can be the one that takes out Roman Reigns and The Rock comes out to congratulate Drew McIntyre. That could also take The Rock out of WrestleMania, as The Rock is using more so a bodyguard. He's using assistance here from Drew McIntyre, a spot that I always thought may have been for Hikuleo, but Drew McIntyre makes a lot of sense too. Also, notice when Drew McIntyre re-signed with WWE, it wasn't Triple H that was making a post about him. It was The Rock. The Rock gifted a sword to Drew McIntyre, something that McIntyre has said is very special to him. He might have this respect for The Rock and maybe doing this for The Rock. No Rikishi. And The Rock can pull all of the strings for Drew McIntyre in 2025 to make him the happiest he can be, as Drew McIntyre realizes that there is no loyalty in this company. There is no family in this company. So he might as well do what is best for him. That's 6 of the wrestlers that I think it could be. I mean, maybe I've seen people theorize Karrion Kross. I've seen people theorize everybody under the sun. That could be the one that called Drew McIntyre. But I personally believe that The Rock theory makes the most sense. I think it's either The Rock, Sheamus, or Wade Barrett. I think it would be really cool just for it to be Sheamus and have them as a tag team again, because after Sheamus wins the IC title, I want to see him go back to a tag team. He's an amazing tag team wrestler, and yeah, this is basically becoming a Sheamus YouTube channel. But who do you guys think it is? I personally am going to go with The Rock, but I want to hear from you. So like this video, subscribe if you can. That would be dope. You'd be really cool. You'd be one of my favorites. And I will see you guys in the next one. Deuces.